G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic Easter. Hopefully the Easter Bunny was kind to you and you're picking out on chocolates right now. I'm going to be doing a movie review this evening. Now, for all of you horror fans out there, you sick, twisted so-and-sos, you're not going to like this one at all. You're not going to appreciate the fact that I'm reviewing it, but I do have a taste in other genres, believe it or not. The majority of my films are horror, but I do like other films from other genres, good films, and I do have a broad sort of taste. So every now and then I'll bring out a film from a different genre, but as I said, majority of my reviews and updates will be of horror, but as I said, every now and then the door opens to my subscribers who like different kind of films. So tonight is the night where hopefully you'll get something out of this. So it's a French film. It's in French language, but for all of you guys who don't like reading English subtitles, don't have to worry because the release from this film, the UK release, I'm not sure if it's an option on other releases, but the UK release includes a fully dubbed English language version. So if you don't like subtitles, don't worry, there is an option for you that will save you the trouble of having to do that. Personally, I much prefer watching a film in the original language, but I am aware that a lot of people don't like that, so this film has the option to satisfy your needs. So the film was made in 2007, directed by Julian Schnabel, and this is an actual biography film. It's based on a proper true story. Now, a lot of films will say based on a true story, but they're only very, very loosely based. A lot of these films are horror films. They'll say true story, but only very loosely based. And they really do that to create it's kind of a marketing gimmick. But this one is actually a proper true story, which is based on the book that this guy actually wrote. And this film is called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. So that title alone is enough to put any horror fan off. But if you do like films from other genres, hopefully this review will create enough interest for you to see this film because I think it's a very important film to watch. Now, the story is as follows. On December the 8th, 1995, Jean-Dominique Barbie, editor-in-chief of fashion magazine French Elle, suffered a massive stroke, leaving him prisoner inside his own body, only able to communicate with the blinking of his left eye. Inside the diving bell, as he referred to his body, his memory and imagination, the butterfly remained untouched by the tragedy. Using a special alphabet, Barbie went on to defy the odds and fulfill his dream of writing a book, showing the amazing resilience of the human spirit. And that's exactly what this film was all about. The amazing resilience of the human spirit is just one sentence that can really just sum up the whole film. It is a true story, and on December the 8th, 1995, a day before my birthday, Jean-Dominique Barbie, he suffered this massive stroke and he was completely paralyzed. The only movement he had was blinking of the left eye. And a lot of people in this situation would have just given up, felt sorry for themselves, but not this guy. This guy, the power of his imagination, he basically retreated into his imagination. And he would think of beautiful kind of things like him driving through the countryside, him running around, and the fact that he could only use one eye to move. He basically, as I said, retreated, and this is how he kept himself going. He retreated and he thought of all these amazing sort of things inside his imagination. So the diving bell is basically him inside, basically, yeah, using his imagination, his memory. He memorized some beautiful things in his life before he had this terrible tragedy. And then the butterfly was just the thing that kept him alive, basically. And instead of giving up on his life, he actually decided to write a book. And incredibly, that book he actually finished. Now, he had a helper who had this special alphabet. And this helper would go through the alphabet, and this guy would blink on the letter that he wanted written down. And this is the process he went through to write an entire novel. So you can imagine the patience, determination, and courage that this guy had to, he didn't really have anything else to do. So, he just, the determination of this guy was really, really inspiring. And the determination of his helpers and the people who never gave up on him, which is just absolutely incredible. The film is an absolute masterpiece, one of my favourite films based on the fact that it's just such a beautiful film. Now, there are scenes where he goes back into his imagination, which are quite haunting and quite sad, but at the same time very, very uplifting, because it shows you the power of imagination and the fact that you can be in the worst situation, but with your imagination, anything is possible. And it shows you how important imagination is, and the fact that, let your imagination run free, because it can save you even in the worst of circumstances. Now, the acting was just outstanding. The guy who played Jean-Dominique was brilliant. The whole supporting cast was brilliant, but it was really the story that just, it was, as it says on the front, fascinating and beautiful, immensely moving, and that's an understatement. One of the most life-affirming films of the year. Now, this is a film that won't have you feeling sorry for, just say for example, the things that I've gone through in life. Now, some people have come up to me and said, well, count yourself lucky that you've got your legs, or someone else is in a much worse position, which is really bad, but that doesn't really help my immediate situation, and that kind of makes me feel guilty for feeling bad about my problems, whereas someone out there is going through a lot more. So that doesn't really help your immediate situation, but this film never really makes you feel guilty for feeling bad about your problems. This really is a feel-good movie about making something of your life, no matter how bad the problem is. And that's exactly what this Jean-Dominique Barbie did. And to be honest, I'm not embarrassed to say he is one of my heroes, for the fact that he could have easily given up. But this guy was absolutely incredible that he actually wrote a novel. And it shows that you can be in a bad situation. You don't have to feel sorry for yourself. This guy made something of his life, and you can too, no matter how bad the situation. So at no point does this film make you feel bad about feeling bad about your problems, which some people unintentionally do. And it's just a film about the human sort of resilience, the human spirit, and just don't let anything get in the way. Or you can make a life out of anything. No matter how bad your situation is, just don't give up, because anything is possible. And this film is just living proof of that. And I feel that if you've been through some hardships in life, this is a very important film to have, because it will uplift you. It is a depressing film in one sense, but then in another, it just shows the power of imagination and the power of the human spirit, and that's exactly what the film's all about. I highly, highly recommend this film. I hadn't watched this in quite a while. I just ordered it from Amazon UK. I watched it again, and this definitely goes down in my top 5 films. Now, I have done a top 5 films not long ago, and obviously, it's natural that you watch a film and some of the films in my top 5 might be replaced. Well, this one definitely gets into my top 5, because it's just an absolutely incredible story. The guy is an inspiration to everyone, certainly to me. And yeah, it's just a very important film to have, especially if you've been through hardships in life yourself. So highly, highly recommended. If I could recommend one film, this is definitely one. And even horror fans, I suggest you go out there and see this one, because it is very uplifting, and it just shows you what the human mind is capable of. So that's my review of The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. I highly recommend you go out and see it. Some people say it's boring. I thought it was absolutely incredible, and it's just a movie that has to be seen. Alright guys, my next review will be in a few days. Well, actually tomorrow, because I've got it off. The next 2 days I've got off. So I'll be doing some more reviews tomorrow. Probably horror, so look out for that. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you later.